I would
Well,
regret it if people look back at the first episode and you weren't on it.
Yeah, well, I like that. It's called forward thinking.
We have one of the worst beats in the world. We do. Our beat is horrible.
Connor could shove that article up his ass.
And then I went to that game, and I was like, this is the greatest team I've ever seen in my life. I'm a Jet fan. This is going to be the greatest run ever. Yeah.
No, because if they take Aquanu, I'm not complaining.
Joe Douglas is the king of keeping shit close to the vest.
A 2, a 4, and a 6 for Darnold?
Did the Jets really ruin Sam Darnold, or did Sam Darnold just suck all along and we were just trying to talk ourselves into it?
And Hamilton is a player who can potentially make a very big impact.
And suddenly here we are today, you can't get rid of him.
Right, it's like a plague.
Joe Douglas was hired because he's not those general managers.
Okay, Luscious.
Somebody is going to fall just like Elijah Moore did, just like Michael Carter did.
You know, what would, if you had one sentence to say to Joe Douglas, what would you say? So you would say, you had me at hello, and then give him a big old wet one right on the smack.
I would give him a big fat wet one right on the smacker. Joe Douglas is proving to be better and better every day. That's right, I said it, and I believe it. And here's the evidence, okay? So, you know, maybe people aren't old enough to remember. I don't know. I'm not certain. I'm not certain if people are old enough to remember, and that's the problem. But it's not normal to get lots of stars in one draft. That doesn't happen a lot. You know what I mean? It just doesn't seem to happen like that. Sometimes you're lucky. Sometimes you don't get any good players out of a draft. Sometimes you get one or two. Let's look what the Jets did. Okay? Sauce Gardner is elite. He's elite. Chase was so frustrated with him. He was hitting him after the plays and pushing him. They were fighting. That means you got into his head. You're frustrating him. Nobody frustrates Jamar Chase. Unless you are, of course, unless you are Sauce Gardner and you're elite. And he's saying, how in the world is this rookie covering me? Why am I not able to get open and do what I please? Then let's go to our next pick. At number 10, we take Garrett Wilson. Anybody wish we can go back, give up our 2 second-round picks, not have JJ, not have Breece Hall, throw all that away, and have a $30 million a year cap hit for Tyreek Hill? Tyreek Hill is great, but don't you think that Garrett Wilson, $30 million in the bank, Breece Hall and Jermaine Johnson are better for a team that's building for the future? I think Garrett Wilson answered that question already. Already getting open, already number 1, I think, or number 2 in the entire NFL in percentage, beating his man and getting open. It's out of control. Garrett Wilson, it wasn't just luck or garbage time football. These were big time catches in big moments where he dominated the people trying to cover him. Dominated. Right, Snowball? You can't deny it. I am very happy with the direction we went by taking Garrett Wilson with the second pick. So that's 2 hits, 2 stars. And you might say, well, that's the 4th and 10th pick, Jeremy. Joe Douglas is supposed to pick stars, even though most teams don't hit on 2, even if they are in the top 15 of the draft. But anyway, let's move on further through the draft. Suddenly, we take one of our second-round picks, throw it all the way back to a 101st pick or whatever, and move up and take Jermaine Johnson. So our third number 1 pick, number 3. And what happens with our number 3 pick? He is maybe the most unseen rookie of all rookies. Nobody talks about Jermaine Johnson, but yet, Jermaine Johnson is kicking butt. Jermaine Johnson playing only 30% of the snaps or so, which is ridiculous. It's got to change. Is sealing the edge. He's got 1.5 sacks, on pace to get 6 for the year, and that's barely playing. Not playing nearly enough. But, forget about just the sack number. He seals the edge. He seals the edge. That is so big when you want to stop the run. Nobody is running. When he's in there, you're not seeing quarterbacks get away, or you're not seeing running backs going and running to the left side of our defense around the edge. Maybe they could learn from him. He made a play. Dom C showed it on my show the other night on Wednesday, where he looked like he was caught on the inside, and then he just bounced out and made a play when they tried to get around the edge. And he said, no, I'm not letting them around the edge. So good pick there. Number 4, we take Breece Hall, ranked in the top 10 of all NFL rookies. Game-winning touchdown last week. Amazing receiving running back. I'd be surprised if he wasn't in the top 5 in the NFL for reception yards for a running back. I got to look, but I'm just saying it seems like he might be. He's dangerous. He's been catching passes and accumulating yards. A lot of yards from the line of scrimmage when you add on his running yards. There's a lot of weird, funky plays where they kind of delay and hand him the ball that wasn't really working. But towards that fourth quarter, started grinding, pounding his way through big runs, big 5-6 yard runs in the red zone. It's good stuff. He's our power back. Got Michael Carter as our finesse back, right? We just go between the two of them all day long, but when we get into that red zone and into that 10 inside that 10-yard line, we got ourselves a guy, Breece Hall, right? The next pick after that was Jeremy Ruckert. Now he's the guy that has done very well in the snaps he's played. His blocking, we've pointed out some elite blocks that he's made, some great blocks, but the reality is he hasn't played a lot, and he wasn't supposed to play a lot because he's developing, and he's a rookie tight end. We got 2 very competent veteran tight ends, and this affords us the opportunity to develop Jeremy Ruckert, and that's what we're doing, and it's a good thing. Then we move along in the draft, and here's the best part of our draft. Here's the best value of our draft, arguably the best value of our draft. First-round picks are exciting, but how about taking 2 guys in the 4th round that look like they're going to be solid NFL starters, and you get them in the 4th round, right? Let's start with Michael Clemens, an absolute monster. He could play inside. He could play outside. It doesn't matter where you stick him on that line. He has a motor that does not quit, and we've got to get him more snaps. He's already 24, 25 years old. You can't waste this guy any amount of time. They've got to get him on the field. And he is a hard, vicious hitter. He makes whoever he hits think about it. He is in on every tackle because he never stops, never gives up on a play, has the motor to stay in on every play. His name is Michael Clemens, and he's a stud. And then, if that wasn't enough, Max Mitchell, who... Yes, Tigo, you get to salute everybody, Tigo. Tigo said, Tigo went a little crazy and said he's like the best right tackle in the NFL. I wouldn't go that far. Maybe he'll become the best right tackle in the NFL, but he certainly, before he got hurt, was just an answer to our prayers. And guess what? He'll be back in 5-6 weeks, whenever it is. He'll be back. He'll continue to grow and get experience to finish up the season. He'll play the last 5 or 6 games for us. And going into the future, we don't have to draft a right tackle. We got our guy. It looks like Max Mitchell. Unless he comes back and looks like crap, we have a right tackle. All we got to do is work out the left side. Is it going to be Becton? Is he going to come back and stay healthy? Who are we going to have ready to go on the left side? Are we going to re-sign Fant? We got to have someone ready on the left side. We cannot count on Becton. Also, spend another 3rd, 4th round pick on a tackle, maybe even a 2nd round pick. Maybe we take a center. I don't know. But the offensive line, you continue to invest in the offensive line, especially with draft picks that don't cost you a lot of money. Carter is a good blocker too. Yeah, he did. He was blocking really, really well for Brees Hall and vice versa. They block for each other. They're like, it's perfect. It's great. Yeah, Zach drops the F-bombs, man. He's a man now. He's a man. He's a man. He doesn't just drop the F-bombs. He drops moms. Dropping F-bombs and dropping moms. Max Mitchell is not playing this week. He's going to be out for a good 4 to 5 weeks. Dislocated kneecap. What's good is no ligament damage, no PCL, no ACL, no ankle injury, no serious ankle injury. Dislocated kneecap will heal. It's the kind of injury that will heal. Not something that's going to impact the rest of his career. It's probably one of the better injuries you can ask for, but unfortunately, it does mean missing some time. The muscles around that kneecap have got to heal and build strength again, so don't expect them to come racing back. But hey, we only got to survive 1 week and or 2 weeks at the most, and it looks like Fant will be back. Dwayne Brown, by the way, big news. Dwayne Brown is going to start. He's our left tackle. The question is what we're going to do on the right side, but Remmers has been on the Remmers or whatever, I'm sure has been activated or is eligible to be activated off the practice squad. So it'll be between him and McDermott or AVT. AVT might move to right tackle. He seems to be able to do anything he wants. So we'll get through 1 or 2 weeks, hopefully just one. And we'll have, I think 2, though, and we'll have a healthy George Fant returning at some point. And then we'll have George Fant and Dwayne Brown, the way it was supposed to be before our people got hurt. So once Brown and Fant are in there, we'll be healthy, we'll be strong, we'll be solid on the line. We'll have AVT as an emergency backup. We'll have this guy Remmers that we signed, Cameron McDermott, and also eventually coming back onto the squad will be Max Mitchell. And then we're going to have a little bit of a controversy because we're going to have 3 left tackles, Fant, Brown, and Mitchell. And then when the year's over, the offseason is going to be interesting because if we don't sign Fant, then we have Brown, Mitchell, and Becton all competing. And Brown would be the swing tackle most likely. If Becton stayed healthy, he'd probably win his job back. Again, we can't count on that. But also, if we did sign Fant, then we're really deep because then we would have Fant and Max Mitchell and Dwayne Brown and perhaps a very healthy, Becton if he comes back healthy and looking good. And we could be very deep in the tackle position, which means we could say goodbye to the likes of Connor McDermott. Nothing against him personally. He comes in and he does his best. Unfortunately, he just doesn't play at a high enough level for us to root for him to be on the field. Yeah, this was just announced, my friend. This was just announced today that Brown is going to be starting on Sunday. I think I think he's ready to go. Let's hope he's really healthy and they're not rushing him back. He says he feels fine. So, that'll be it. We'll see what happens. You're saying you'd play Ruckert and Usama at this point. It's weird because Conklin had some clutch catches too. And he also, I know he's messed up, but Conklin has not only had, to go with his drops and fumble, he has had some good clutch catches that really helped us in the fourth quarter, but also if that Brees Hall fumble wasn't a touchdown, it was Conklin who had the whereabouts and the quick reflexes to jump on that ball and protect that ball. So he did some good things. He did some bad things. I know that's not very popular. I mean, Green Bean's own words. Why he doesn't like Ty Johnson? He wants consistency, and I agree. Not hot and cold. Conklin, I wouldn't say deserves to be benched at this point, but I would say he's got to be looked at carefully at this point. He's got to be looked at very, very carefully. No more mistakes. He's got to be more consistent. Yeah, my dream towards the end of the season when the schedule gets easier, the O-line gets healthy, Zach learns how to throw a 2-yard swing pass, and we finally make the playoffs. I think it's a fair point now. There's no question at this point. We're allowed to say it out loud. Zach Wilson right now clearly or appears to have a weakness when it comes to touch, putting touch on the ball and throwing softer passes. it is something that is very, very developable. You can't teach a quarterback that has a weak arm how to throw it 50, 60 yards, especially off balance, like Zach can. But you can coach and teach a quarterback how to take something off the ball. It is something he's going to have to work on. From what we've seen, I definitely think it's fair to say that. It's not too early to say that in his career, that he's going to need to work on what's called touch. It's called touch. Green Bean will make you think he has touch, but Green Bean doesn't have any touch. Is Usama doing more blocking? He is. That's his role. He's not doing anything wrong. It's not like he's not getting open or he's not guilty of anything except for the fact he's using them and he's being utilized the way they meant to utilize them. But most of all, on top of that, he is a leader in the locker room. It's things we don't see on the field. He really is a leader on the sidelines. He's vocal. So he is doing what they want him to do. Give him some time. There'll be they're waiting for people to adjust. People might adjust and do some different things. And all of a sudden you might see Usama out there catching passes, like one random game, he's going to get 5-6 receptions, or he'll make the big play, the big catch, or you'll see him out there blocking. It's going to change week to week based on our opponent. The point is we have depth at tight ends. I have no quarrel with LaFleur so far with the tight end position. It is what it is. We got a bunch of weapons. Let's give Conklin a chance to settle in and see what happens. And that quarterback room is it's just, yeah. Look, he'll get it, man. Well, and it's not crazy that it's not crazy right or left. Like, it makes sense. It's a different motion, right? If you're throwing across or you're throwing open, especially if you're moving and you throw it open, it's a different motion. So it could be a little tiny thing in his mechanics, or a focus thing. But yeah, he's got to get it down, dude. He's got to get it down. And, it's the better problem to have, right? The best thing that we saw in the fourth quarter was when he was decisive, he was effective. So he needs to trust himself. That was a back scratch. Sorry about that. He needs to trust himself and continue to be decisive, and you see the results. And, he's still, what is he, 23? It's going to develop, man. He'll keep getting better. Coaches need to get better too. I think they're still learning too. Yeah, absolutely. We're young on all fronts. Yeah, Braxton's like his best friend. Maybe he could help him. Maybe you could at least coach him, right? Teach him how to do it. But, the thing about Braxton, he's that guy you trust, right? You do a trick play like that and you need it to be executed perfectly. That's why Braxton Berrios was signed. That's why he's on the team, and that's his job. He executes. He executes the plays. He's trustworthy. He does everything he's supposed to do. That's his biggest strength. He's one of the guys we can trust as much as any guy on the team. So, but yeah, look, I think we're heading in the right direction. The coaches seem to be learning, right? They're on the path of growth. That's important because sometimes you don't see any growth in a coach, Adam Gase. And, you're in trouble. But now we're seeing hope with our coaching staff because it looks like there's some growth. They seem to be getting more flexible, and LaFleur definitely is the most blatant person on our staff that's showing growth. There's no question about it. Ever since he went in the booth last year, we've seen the improvement, and, he's doing it without a healthy offensive line. So, kudos to him. I mean, look at Denver. Look how bad an offense could be. And that's what Russell Wilson, there. And they were supposed to be a powerhouse team. So we've got to give credit where credit is due. LaFleur is doing well. He is looking like he could become one of the better offensive coordinators in the NFL someday. He might develop into a very special OC, and eventually he'll get his chance to be a head coach. Saleh, jury's still out, but he seems to be getting better. He seems to be little bits by bits. He's filling his shoes more and more. And then Ulbrich is the biggest question mark, right? We got to see. We're not going to just call him a turned around coach because he was able to contain the Steelers. You know what I mean? So, Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what we mean. Well, of course. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, you trade and you get Russell Wilson and you still and your offense is that bad. Something's wrong with that coaching staff. Something's wrong, or something's wrong with Wilson. He was very demanding in Seattle. He didn't like their system. He wanted it changed. He was making all kinds of demands, and they got rid of him. They traded him. And now he's not doing good. So maybe Seattle was onto something. Maybe he should have just shut up and listened to his coaches and did what he was told to do. It's like when you get a movie star that tries to direct their own movies and the movies stink. It's like, maybe you should just keep acting. Jeremy, did you see the Kurt Warner video I posted on your earlier video? He broke down some film. This is the first year I can name the entire 53-man roster. Really got into the team watching this film. Yeah, I did, and I really liked it. I love watching film breakdowns, especially when it's the Jets. I'm learning a lot. I love Dom C's film breakdown too. But it would be interesting if he did like 10 plays from last year and then 10 plays from this year side by side and point out some differences. Well, maybe that's a good idea for another video for me. We'll see. But yeah, hey man, I gotta say I have to take credit for all this, man. It's content providers like, no, I'm just kidding. Guys, I'm right there with you. 3 years ago, I couldn't have named the whole roster. You know what I mean? Now I'm naming guys like Remmers and all kinds of weird offensive backup linemen and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I know who's on our practice squad, right? Yeah, Sabo's very good at breakdown. Yeah, it feels good, right? To have guys growing and get better, Ronald. It does, Ronald. It does feel good. If you're talking about winning, if you're talking about seeing a team grow and get better, you're right. It feels really, really good. It is, yeah. Dude, it's the content, but it's also like it's for me too. It's like by being part of the show with Green Bean and Buffalo and working with them and doing these videos. It's like I have a knowledge of the Jets I've never had before. I didn't even pay attention to things like sealing the edge. I didn't know what that meant. He's good. He tackles somebody when they run to the outside. I didn't realize that meant offensive line trick you. Offenses try to deceive you and use your momentum, and they will actually stunt and let you get into the inside on purpose. And then when you do that, and the offensive lineman turns and angles and keeps you away from the outside, now the quarterback, whether he's scrambling or the running back, has running room. And the defense could play chess and they could have a linebacker step up in that situation. Or the offensive lineman's got to keep the left side of his body. If you're playing right edge, edge on the right side of your defense, you got to keep the right arm out, man. Right? The right arm's got to stay out. Oh, that's my left arm. Hold on. The right arm has got to stay out on your body, right? So when you're being blocked, you got to be able to get out there and push and contain that edge. If you get on the inside and that guy can now block you fully and your arm is not free, they could run around you. I'm learning from film breakdown. Now I know when I watch the game, I'm looking for our edges. Yes, rush the quarterback, but the angle you take matters. You have to push upfield first. You can't go on the angle too much unless you have a linebacker behind you, unless the defensive tackle is sliding over to protect the outside. Because if you don't have someone protecting it, it's the edge. And you'll notice that there are lots of edges that when they get their sacks, look at TJ Watt, guys like that, when they come around the edge, they're coming wide. And then they close in on the quarterback. They either get the sack or they push him up in the pocket, and then your tackles can make the play on him. But they don't let him get around. You can't do it. Look at watch tape on guys like Von Miller, TJ Watt, the other Watt brother, JJ back in the day. Watch old film of any of the great edge rushers that were also good run stoppers. I like that. Good angles. Good angles. That's what it is. Yeah. You got to take the right angles. So you're saying one brother doesn't do it as well as the other? Okay. But that's what our coaches have to teach, right? If you're going to stick JFM on the edge, you got to make sure he knows he's got to stay responsible for the outside. Guys, I was just dropping in to say hello. Just wanted to do some little bit of talk. I might be back tonight. Keep your eyes open for Proud New York Jets fan or my channel or Buffalo or Tigo. Someone will probably come on tonight. Just wanted to say hello. Get excited about Sunday. Go Jets. Have a good one, everyone. Take care of yourself. Be healthy. I'll see you later. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Go. Amazing. That's my boy. That's my boy.
Breaks away from a sack and completes the pass for first down.
Oh, Kittle just may have made the most amazing catch.
He fights for the first down and gets out of bounds, too.
It's no good. Overtime. Oh, what a catch. How do you drop that? What are you, Jamal Adams? Touchdown.
This is a touchdown all the way.
He reached over the pylon. San Francisco beat Cincinnati.